And hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode, another installment of Wise Old Broads. My name is Anja, and I am so excited to bring to you guys my guest for today. Her name is Mary, and she is the bee's knees. She's such a pleasant woman, and I've known her for quite some time. But before I begin that, I want to share with you my bling bling. This video is sponsored by Paparazzi Accessories and Yvette Benton with Gym Ministries. That is JYM. Gym Ministries. She's a gym director. This is Yvette Benton, and I will also link her website in the links somewhere. So, once again, to remind you guys that Wise Old Broads is, what I'd love to do is I love to feature women who are 60 years old and older, living their very, very best lives. Because as a younger woman myself, I want to know how they did it. I want to know what I can do to live my very best life. And that is my guest today. Her name is Mary, and I'm bringing her on. She is fabulous. And welcome, Mary, to the broadcast.
Hello.
Hi, Mary.
Hi,
How
Angie.
are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm so honored to be on here with you.
I'm so happy that you agreed to come on to WAP today, to Wise Old Broads. Now, first of all, I have to say, your smile is lighting up my life right now. It really is. Like, I'm just like, you look happy. You look so just vibrant. You are exactly what I would think of when I want to become older. Please share with us, how old are you?
61. I just made your cutoff.
You did just make my cutoff. You made my cutoff. And tell, where are you from? Give us a little background about you.
Okay. I'm originally from California, Salinas, California, born and raised in Fort Ord, military brat, Korean mom, Italian dad. I'm the oldest of three, and I am currently living in Florida. Thanks to my son and a bunch of other circumstances and that and all. So, um, yeah, I've had a really incredible life journey. So filled with a lot of challenges and uh, being able to walk through them
Okay.
with a
Okay.
tribe, with mentors, not alone. That's one of the
So
key
you
things.
are a wob who has wobs, is what you're telling me. So you're a wise old broad who has wise old broads.
And even young broads like you've been very instrumental also for me.
Young
Yes,
broads,
I
huh?
stay. I
So
stay
Mary,
open to
one of the
learn.
reasons why I really wanted to tap your shoulder and I felt like you have so much to offer to young women like me is not only because there's not been a time where I've spoken with you and you just weren't like happy and excited and just a very, very good energy, but I
You
love
caught
the
me on a
fact
good
that you
day.
move and groove. Like you bounce around so much. Like you are not like just still. Like you're always traveling, always moving, doing things. Share some of that with us.
Sure. It all started though back when I was a kid because of being a military brat and that. So
Mm-hmm.
we got to travel a lot, but I have no recollection of a lot of that. So now, fast forward it, being able to come into all different types of recovery groups and that, and being able to recognize the hurts, habits, and hangups that held me back and
Mm-hmm.
all, was very instrumental because I could be smiling on the outside and dying on the inside.
Mm.
So, like today's current events, it was happening back then also. Everything from the shape of my eyes to the size of my body and the color of my skin. And so being able to now recognize that I am dealing with a lot of childhood trauma and pain and knowing how to process that through all the different recovery groups I've been in. So everything from love addiction, survivors of incest, codependency,
Mm-hmm.
that was all instrumental in me being able to step outside of myself to do the traveling, to do the, face my fears of how to, know how to ask for things and owning my own. And I'm still in the process of that. But now it's on a whole new realm. I've So 2014, I retired from the post office.
Mhm.
2015, I got divorced. 2016, I moved up to Oregon to be with my sister who had stomach cancer. And so I needed to be able to create a whole new community for myself. And so
Mhm.
that's why a tribe is really, really important for me. So right away, I was able to get into the recovery groups, but it also led me to a lot of other things that I could open and allow myself to do. So everything from crystal work to being able to go to drumming circles to expand my horizons, right? But
Mhm.
I didn't do those alone. And it wasn't without yes, no, okay, God, let's go,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so being able to really hone in on, um, yeah, there were so many things that were blocking me. I'm not smart
Mhm.
enough. I don't know how to get here to there. I don't have enough money. Every excuse you could think of piled on and
So
kept
it's
me
a
from
couple of
walking.
things you said. First of all, I think that you have gorgeous eyes. I really do. Your eyes are very beautiful. They're very warm. And
Thank you.
it is unfortunate that we live in a world and a society that will pick any little thing that distinguishes somebody from the norm or
Mhm.
something else. And I wonder this because what in you knew to go to recovery? Like a lot of people live in their drama, they're living their stuff, but what was it that said, no, I'm worth it, let me go take care of this, or whatever the case may have been? What was it for you?
It started way back on a weekend. It was based on a book of women who love too much,
Mm-hmm.
and it was by Robin Norwood, and it was a small little group, and that's where we originally I got to find out about the family of origin dynamics.
Okay.
And so from that point on, I knew I was in trouble because I had all the signs, but I didn't know how to do anything about it. And so uh, I just got the books. They were just finding out about the word codependency and all. So then fast forward it. I've always had weight issues,
Mm-hmm.
and so the last stop was Food Addicts and Recovery Anonymous, and it
Mm-hmm.
was a do or die. And so it was the only thing that saved my life to get to a goal weight, to maintain a goal weight. So I have a release of over 70 plus pounds maintained over 18 years
I'm
by the
always
grace
in.
of God. Yeah. And so, now leaving the groups, leaving the church, there were so many different things. So to really hone it down, because I think what is the answer for me is being able to recognize that I have hurts, habits, and hangups that were never dealt with, and I just carried them over. It's kind of like the movie Big, right? Where Tom Hanks is the little kid in an adult body, but I still have the child mentality. And so anytime I get frustrated or upset at me and the critical voices come in and all, I get to say, whose voice is that?
Ooh.
Right?
Ooh.
That was, and put my hand on my heart and really sink into my body and say, where is that voice coming from? Well, that was my mom, or that was my dad, or that teacher, or whatever. And to
Mm-hmm.
distinguish, that's no longer happening to me now.
Mm-hmm.
So the inner child, I get to reparent that inner child and say, oh, that's the lie. That's not true. But there's that time in between of getting to the place where it's comfortable in a way of life. It's a tumultuous road, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I can
You
get caught up in that. And so it's,
okay.
pain is inevitable, but suffering's a choice, and I don't have to suffer through it anymore. I will have the pain because I know the process. And so that's what's allowing me to have a life full of freedom, a lot more than I've ever had before. Freedom of expression, of even finding my own words, my own thoughts. I'm not somebody's mother, I'm not somebody's wife, I'm not somebody's daughter. I'm me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm owning my own now and finding out what that's like at 60, 50 some odd years.
So you said a
Little but
couple of
slow.
things. You said a couple of things that really stood out to me. That suffering is a choice.
Hmm.
Pain is inevitable, and it's interesting because a lot of times people feel like they're stuck. And you
Absolutely.
also said that too. how to get out of the mesh, how to make the choices. Can you very, very briefly just walk through the process of like pain being inevitable, but like suffering being the choice, so you're not choosing the suffering? What does that look like for you? Because some people are so scared they don't even go forward.
Yeah. I usually have a lot of that around the men in my life.
Okay.
And so, you know, there's a new person, they ghost me, and it's like, oh, what
Wait
the?
a minute. Wait. Are they still ghosting in their 60s?
Oh, they're younger. I don't get
Oh,
60-year
okay.
olds.
Okay. All right, Cougar. Okay. All right, ma'am. Okay.
And so, and so, again, I don't do it alone. I can reach out, I can call somebody and I can get, talk me out of it. And the thing is that, well, you're not even a friend or anything, Mary. This is an acquaintance. And with an acquaintance, I have no attachment. I don't have to be attached, right?
Mhm.
Am I the observer or did I absorb things, right? But see, that's my hurt little girl that's dealing with abandonment, rejection,
Okay.
betrayal, the first sign like that. And it's like, oh, get that out. I get a cry over it. Sometimes it takes me to a fetal position and knocks me out for a couple of days because I'm so depending on
So
how
you
much
deal with
time I
the
spend.
pain. Okay. All right.
Yes. So but I don't now it's shorter, quicker, smoother because I don't want to stay in that mess. I don't want to stay in that funk.
So how long were you married?
Oh, which time? Um the first time was
The longest
maybe
one.
11 years.
Okay.
11 years. Yes, that was the longest relationship that I have ever had. And it's so funny because people said, "Oh, you always wanted to get married, Mary." And I said, "I did. I never thought it was like that." But apparently, and,
Interesting.
and see, I had lost all my weight. And then this gentleman came in to my life. And so I didn't get to enjoy my singleness and my thinness and all that good stuff. So I
Okay.
still had the 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 heavy girl mentality, and got to see where a lot of codependency things. But I see my part in the relationship and that and all, and it was really so beneficial in so many ways, and I'm grateful for it. So now that I can come full circle and have compassion and everything, to me that's the healing, and that's what I
Mm.
get to see. That if I'm not over something, when I go hysterical, it's historical. And so that means I need to be able to go back, check on things, heal the little girl because the latest group that I'm involved with is called ACA, Adult Children of Alcoholics. And so they get to the core. So my little girl never had the voice. So I break all the rules. Don't think, don't feel, don't talk. It's not that I'm reliving it. I'm experiencing it for the first time as an adult in full awareness with someone else, co-parenting life, and being able to identify. Because what I don't identify, I will keep repeating, right?
What
And
you
so it's
don't
so huge.
identify, you will keep repeating.
Yeah,
That's like a word, a quote, a life mantra, whatever you want to say. That is so like life changing in the sense because we wonder how do we keep ending up in these cycles? Well, there you have it.
it's an easy pattern because I was brought up and raised that. And so I need to be able to look at my environment around me. So
Hmm.
I am a product of my environment. So that's why I needed to be able to step out a lot of places. So I'm a recovering Catholic, a recovering recoverer. I'm,
You're
finding my way.
recovering from recovery. Okay, but you know
And
what? Even within that, I think it's still beautiful because what
absolutely.
I love is that I'm hearing you value you enough to get whatever help you need at the moment, however
Mhm.
you see fit to need it.
Absolutely. And before I was always so black and white and blocked in, like in my marriage, the loyalty is so huge because that's what I learned, right?
Mhm.
Loyalty. And so I can stay loyal to, somebody who's beaten me over the head emotionally,
Mm.
physically, and spiritually, and suffer the end results of it, my body, and I've also learned that I can heal emotionally, but if I don't take care of the physical
Mhm.
and the spiritual altogether, it's another real easy relapse, repeat. And that, so I know somatically, somebody else talked earlier, through my every single cell of my body carries on generationally and everything. So I know and understand about generational healing when I address this, because I've been oppressed, suppressed, repressed, depressed, congestion of the hoochie and all that good stuff. And so it's like freedom.
Okay, this is because you are Asian American, Asian and Italian American.
Uh-huh.
Have you noticed, and you look very Asian, have you noticed being put in boxes, looking like an Asian woman, like have people, I want to say stereotypes, like
Oh
have you different
yeah.
kind of stereotypes
Oh yeah.
that you've had to
How
overcome?
do they say hello in your language? Hello.
Wow.
And I forget my eyes are slanted or whatever, and it's like,
And they're
how would they
beautiful.
even ask me? I love it all now, right? And that's another thing, to love my body, because the food was a real separation for me and my body in that. And so it's
Mhm.
really, really huge to now to love every bit of my body, lotion it, and take such exquisite care of it, and just being able to know that I am a fully alive sensual being, and
Yeah.
sex and all that is a beautiful thing, when it was like, oh my god, you can't talk about that, right?
So once again, you are really coming alive and coming within yourself after
Yes.
60.
Yeah, probably 55 and all. It's
50,
been a
okay, 55.
continuum.
And what you're
It's
telling
been
me
a
is that it gets better and better and better. And this is a theme thus far that I'm noticing with the WOBs, is that there's a breaking point like around the 49, 50-year old in the second half of life. And it's kind of like they just throw everything that everybody else had to say. And it's like, wait a minute, what do I want?
Yeah, not for me. It's been challenging all the way through, because
Okay.
even whenever I address something new in my life, so the love addiction, seeing how that could even be something that I use, because I was brought up with romance books and all that. So every time there was a new aha. My whole construct of a relationship is built around romance books and TV. Woo, what kind of, yeah, standard is that? It's unlivable. It's not realistic.
Speak on
So
it, ma'am. Speak on it.
yes, yes,
Speak on the Disney, even though
it's
I
a
love
fantasy.
Disneyland, but the fantasy,
Hmm. Yeah, and
Prince
so
Charming.
it's a nice place to live, but it's not reality. Like I said, the guys that I ghosted. Oh, and at 50 something, to go on a dating website. Oh my God, and then to be overseas doing that. Whoa, because I was in Australia, and the gentleman was from Melbourne. And I said, "Oh, Melbourne, Florida." No, Melbourne, Australia. And it's like, oh, okay, that's right. I am in Australia now. So learning, and I was suggesting to all my friends, yeah, it's a very educational. You need to go on and try that out, because then you'll learn about communicating, how they don't know how, and how I have to keep repeating, and yeah, who's a fake and who's a real person, and how to get right to no, it's a meet and greet right now. It's like,
So
but
it's the same situation. What you're telling me is that even when you get older, it's still the same thing.
yes, but what is different though is that I have the courage like I've never had before, and to
Mm,
keep on being persistent and knowing my truth and standing up to it, because of these different processes that I've gone through. And so again, like when I came to Florida, brand new place again, so the first meetup group I go to is the Dragon Boat. So I'm out there paddling, I'm meeting a whole brand new group of people, and that um, I've things that I've wanted to do, they get manifested, and it's like for free. So I've always wanted to do self-defense, so Krav Maga came up, and that's an Israeli self-defense, and it was free. How do you get that, right? and
wow.
and then again, another whole community that I get to be built around. And so each time I step out, because it's only in the action, It's only in the experience, because I can talk about it all I want. I can set up all these great and wonderful things that I'm going to attain and do, or my this is my breaking point, this is my boundary, and it's like, not until I step in it. Oh, I'm free and I'm this, and then when the guy says something, it's like, oh no, I'm not as free as I thought I was. It's like, you want to do what? No, sorry.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you don't have a hard time meeting them because you're absolutely beautiful. You have a stunning personality.
It is.
So,
It's interesting. There's dry periods. There's like, there's times when I'm totally lonely and I know I'm alone and it's okay. Like I
mhm.
said, it's not a, straight upward trajectory. It's
How
a
do you
this,
get through
this,
the
and
lonely
this.
times?
Being able to feel through it, being able to allow myself and not be in judgment about it is huge, and that's one of the things, to be able to get into my body, just a breath for an 8 count.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, and I
We
can
don't breathe
settle. Oh no, and it's all usually shallow breathing. And so the 8 count brings it in. So I learned about the chakras. I'm into all different types of Tai Chi and Qigong. I've opened myself because I've allowed myself, and dreams are coming true. So before COVID even started, I had my manifestation board. We're only 2 months into the year. 3/4 of it's done. Without a vision, the people will perish, right? But there's even more. So when I get in my funk, because I get in my funk, oh, this is happening again. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, no. It's like, and I'll just sit around and I'm playing solitaire, and it's like, golly, you know, if somebody was to see me now, they would say, who's that? And it's like, but I've associated the card playing, that's connecting up with my dad. You
Mm,
see, yes, there's other little things. So the divine male and female within me gets to be worked out, because the divine male is about worthiness and being able to be protected in that. And I didn't have much of that. So I get to be my own protector, and self affirmations are huge, and all those types of things. But sometimes I just get to lay in the funk, and it gets to be okay, and eat whatever I want to eat, and not feel bad about it or shamed about it. So one
mhm.
of the steps is, being able to share my issues without self recrimination or shame. Huge,
That is huge.
huge. Yeah.
That's a really, really big thing. So, a couple of things. So you said you're in Australia. Where
Mm.
have you traveled to?
Okay, so when I left Oregon, a friend of mine was like, "Oh, you want to go to Minnesota for a retreat?" And so I looked on the map and I said, "Oh, Minnesota, I've never been there. It's out of the middle of nowhere." And so I have some friends in Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin. So I made a whole big loop.
A
And
loop.
so 2017, so I went to several in-state places and all. People that I asked to stay at people's places that I didn't even know, and
Wow.
they welcomed me with open arms. And then so from there, then I went to Australia, and oh yes, it's a beautiful part in Australia, because my friend challenged me to boulder climbing and going nude on the beach and all these
Nice.
fascinating things. Oh my gosh, yes. And so um, it's very huge, because we were at the Grampians. I met another person. She was just asking for where the utensils were. We struck up a conversation. I ended up being able, she said, come anytime and all that. And so I was having a meeting in her area. I got to spend 3 days with her, and lifelong friends now. So from there, I went to Tasmania, another friend over there. And again, I don't know, all the fears of going through customs, going through, how am I going to do this? And every step of the way, being able to be guided and led, and using every single technique that I had, being able to have connections to contact people when I get fearful. But the main line is me and my higher power. the
Yeah.
source, the divine,
Yeah.
right? Because in the end, there's not going to be anybody or anything that's going to fulfill that. So that self-love is a number one. And so I just am in total gratitude because every place that I went, it's a pilgrimage. So it's
Mhm.
not about um, going to visit this place or that place. It's about this person, that person, and how they enrich my lives, and hopefully I've enriched theirs a little bit. So in Tasmania, my friend took me to her gym, and they were doing weights and stuff, and I was like, oh, I really like that, and my body felt good. So when I come back to
Nice.
stateside,
Nice.
and then I was on my way to because I had a one-way ticket. I wasn't coming back for a little while.
Okay.
And so I was heading to New Zealand, and then I got a phone call from my son. He said, Mom, you got to come home. I'm leaving. And I'm like, what? He's taking care of my place in Florida. And he says, you owe me. He owes me another trip back out. So he
Oh.
went, and he's an incredible young man. It's like, well, where do you go from Disney, right? He goes, oh, Apple. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess so. Yeah, you
So he
got my
came back
blessing.
here
So
and you're out there. Awesome.
yes,
Mary,
I have no family.
what's the biggest life lesson that you've had thus far? Like, what, if you could just give a phrase about your life and who you are now, what would it be?
I think I've shared with you before that I just don't do this alone. To be able to have a mentor in a community, a tribe, and that is essential. And to be constantly working on me,
Yeah.
finding out all my hurts and habits and hangups and that kind of stuff and where they came from, and to be able to release that, then I can make an informed decision without all this other extra negative bias because I'm going to hear where I'm at. I'm going to see where I'm at. So it would behoove me to be centered, focused, on my truth, not yours or yours or yours, and I, yeah, I just hope that, the rest of the world, because I've been tested for COVID and that was positive, got through it asymptomatically and all. There's hope. There's a lot of hope. What do I want to plug into?
So,
Right?
one piece of advice that you would have for me, like women my age, 30s.
Go for it. Don't hold back. Don't hold back.
That is fantastic. Okay, go for it. And now, tell me, how do you feel about being a wise old broad?
Well, it was kind of derogatory term, really, the broad part.
I
but
like
but,
it.
but I told you I'm going to be real. So, but to me, I never thought I'd live past 40 because of all the things that happened in my life and that, right? And so to be 61, I claim every bit of it. I claim all my gray hair, all my wrinkles, because there's not a day where it goes by sometimes that it's like, I need a facelift, tummy tuck, butt job, and it's like, I'm
Yeah,
alive.
you're
I'm
alive.
alive. I'm
I
alive.
want to thank you so much for joining Wise Old Broad today. I am so very grateful that you
Me
agreed to this.
too.
You're fantastic as always, and
Mm.
I just appreciate you. Mwah.
I love you.
Love you too,
I'm
sweetie.
just a reflection.
Bye.
Bye.
And you guys, that is it. Wrapping up our another episode of Wise Old Broads. I love her piece of advice that said, "Go for it. Go for it. If there's something that you want to do, go for it. It's going to be painful." She said, "Pain is inevitable, but suffering is an option or a choice. Suffering is a choice. We don't have to suffer through it, but we do have to go through some pain. So go for it because there's something so much brighter and so much better on the other side." Thank you guys so much for tuning in today and enjoying this other episode of Wise Old Broad.